Considering purchasing a vehicle, a loan and a lease are just two different forms of financing. There are legal differences, but at the end of the day, the most significant difference is that a lease generally results in a lower payment, so you save money in the short run. But at the end of a lease, you own nothing. You own nothing. So it costs you money in the long run. A lease has a residual value. So if we're looking at a vehicle that's going to cost us $30,000 to purchase, the dealership will have a value that the vehicle is going to be worth at the end of the lease. And finally, leases have conditions. You're not the legal owner of the vehicle, but again, you are responsible for maintenance, so it is really just another form of financing. But other important conditions are wear and tear and maximum kilometers. So 20 or 25,000 kilometers per year is a normal maximum. If you exceed that, you have to pay extra at the end of the lease to get out of it. So it does not work well for people who put a lot of mileage on their vehicles. When it comes to the actual math, it works very much the same except for that residual value. So let's take a look at this question. I have a loan. So we can do this question knowing what we already know. So as always, we start by writing out our variables. So how long can we typically do a loan for? 5 years or 60 months. It's my interest rate, 6 divided by 12. My present value, it's what I'm borrowing, $30,000. How much do I owe at the end of a loan? I own nothing. So if I wanted to borrow to purchase this vehicle when I was done school, it would cost me $579.98. Let's say instead we're going to lease it. Leases are usually shorter than 5 years, but for comparison's sake, let's just assume it's the same. Let's assume my I is the same, so we're not clearing the calculator, we're not changing anything. Cost of the vehicle is the same. So what has changed? My future value. When I am done with a lease, if I want to keep the value, keep the vehicle, I have to pay out the residual value. So let's say in this case, the residual value is $15,000. Rule of thumb for a vehicle is about half after 5 years. It's a terrible rule of thumb. Rarely works well, but if we don't have any better information, that's what we're going to go with. Normally, you would look it up, and again, dealers will have tables, and they can actually tell you what it is. The residual value is intentionally set low because the dealership, the financing company, don't want to be left with the vehicle. They want you to buy it out at the end. So I keep everything else the same, and then I compute a new payment, $364.99. So as I said before, what you notice is you've saved some money. But at the end of the loan, you own the vehicle. Yeah, it's a 5-year-old vehicle, but you own it. Supposedly it's worth 15 grand. So if you don't want it, you could sell it, get 15 grand from it. At the end of a lease, you own nothing. So you've saved money in the short term. It's going to cost you money in the long term.